I prefer my classes, so I figure I'd talk to you guys a little break, so if that's okay, we don't grow the entire time. So from here, when we're moving, we're coming out to the side, like I said, get that shoulder drop, but it's really important to be specific with your hand placement. It's easy with Ikkyo for us, and I know I do this all the time, I'm just kind of placing, right? So you place, now I'm on his triceps, which, you know, what's a big deal? He goes down, everything's good. The problem is I'm not controlling a joint, all right? So you're bypassing his elbow, right? The other end of it is if I come in really hard into his elbow, now you have a hinge joint that's going to be hyperextended, so we can't do that either. So I want you to come to the elbow, but your thumb comes underneath and puts a slight bend in his elbow so you can't hyperextend it. What I mean is, if you can just give me that arm, there we go. If this is his arm, my thumb should ride right underneath, and then my forefinger crosses the joint. This way it keeps his joint safe. I can put a lot of pressure in, I never have to worry about hurting his elbow. If I'm here, you're not controlling any joint at all. You're just pushing into basically the back of the belly of the muscles, which you may be able to do that. I can't, I'm not that good. I gotta come to a joint. So I gotta go right in here, really feel that connection. That's gonna make you feel connection here too. If you think of it like a piece of rope, if you go anywhere but a joint, you put slack in the rope. We want to taunt rope, right? You get tauntness in your technique, you close holes in the technique based on attacking joints. So in Ikkyo, that's an easy way to kind of bypass that, but we really want to go in at that elbow, drive, and then make that a firm connection going from his elbow to his shoulder, and then that's going to lock his hip up. And then down. So try and just be a little more specific with your hand placement, just play with it, see how that works for you, and we'll go for a minute or two more. A little different with the footwork. What we're going to try is we're going to do the same thing, focusing on his shoulders. So when we enter in, we're going to come out to the side laterally, half tenkan, step forward, and then go in. From here, instead of doing a full back-to-back tenkan, it's just going to be more of a half movement, shoot forward, pivot, and then here, shoot forward. Just as important as the last time, if he's standing up, I'm not going to try and manipulate that. I'm going to come out laterally, slightly broad him. That's why I'm going halfway. Then once he's extended, then as opposed to staying right there where he's upright, and I really have to come out laterally from that close proximity. Instead, move out a little bit. Lead, then down. Now, same thing for manipulating his posture, but let's look at our own. So a lot of us for Ikkyo, it's very common to kind of bring your head down as you're moving forward, kind of protract, bring everything forward. I want you to try and be aware of where your head is throughout this movement. So I want you to try and keep your head up, keep your shoulders square as you lead. Even as you come through, I don't want to drop. You come on in. So I'm still looking straight at the wall. Try and open up your chest. Keep your posture straight throughout the entire movement. Okay, let's try it out. Great, really good posture, nice movement. There's that common thing that happens with Shio-nage where we turn and then you're looking right at your partner and he's looking at you, and then you do this and you start pulling down, and everything that was good in the opening maybe turns into something not so good, right? And it's easy to get caught up in that, especially when you're training with different people. Everyone has different range of motion, different flexibility. We don't know, well, I know Andy's shoulders are trash, so most of us don't know, most of our shoulders are trash, right? So most of us don't want to be too extended, so we kind of tighten up for that. Just over years of practice, that starts to happen. So we need to figure how do we move him without making him feel like, especially if he doesn't know me, that I'm going to put him at risk. The biggest thing we can do is not bringing the arm way out here, but just bringing it a little bit past his posture, and that's just a little bit out. As soon as I feel that rear foot come off the ground here, you pretty much have everything you need to work with. What I don't want to feel is both feet connected to tight guy, right? He doesn't have a whole lot of range. And that's from love, I'm saying that. But from here, that's about it for him. He's not going to be able to come way out here. So I really have to do it in a way that I can manipulate him without hurting him. And that's the way you guys all have to kind of interact. When you find that partner is being a little tight, they're not always resisting you. Sometimes they're just protecting something that's injured. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you all know what that feels like. You don't know this person. They're starting to move fast, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. You know, you might have an injury. So don't necessarily take that as aggression. Sometimes it's just a safety measure. If that's the case, you really need to be more aware of what you're doing to the shoulder. We really don't want to put the shoulder at risk anyway. So, I mean, yeah, there's more aggressive ways of doing Shio-Nage, which we could make him fall, but he's probably not going to want to train with me anymore after that. So I want to try and make it something more productive. I'm still honoring that off-balancing motion, but I'm not getting so hung up in that eye-to-eye contact at the end of the rotation, where you're both sitting there staring at each other in this awkward gaze because you know you need to do your job, right? So I don't really care about whether they're leaning here or here, but what I don't want is square shoulders and this, right? And then the person just sitting down here. I want to see some kind of hyperextension of the spine or some hip flexion. Either one is fine with me. But just that perfect posture, then we kind of did all this spinning for nothing. Does that make sense? Same movement, right? Same thing. Aihamni, we're going to get her shoulder to drop. Okay, so basic hold. Here, just a little bit. Out to the side. And we'll make lines and we'll do this, but again, what I don't want is her standing up straight and then me here and wondering why she's not falling. I just want to have this lateral lead. And I know there's a lot to getting into the center circle, occupying the center, but there's also a lot to just getting into the circle and moving away to try and manipulate and get a little more force, right? So it's a lot easier to get her off balance if I'm a little further away. I don't want to get really far away, but I do want to get her so that she's shifting slightly. I want this shoulder to drop. I want these toes to be lifted up slightly, and then I'm going to. Okay? So now we're going to get in line. And what's going to happen is we're all going to get crazy, right? Throwing up. You're going to forget everything I said, because I do that too. So what I want you to do is really focus on keep dropping that shoulder every time. If you're not great at parallel parking, you don't hit the gas, right? You kind of bring it down, work it out, then you can hit the gas. Well, in Aikido, I mean, I've done it for years. You know, just go a little fast, go work itself out. It doesn't work that way, right? So if you're seeing an issue that you don't like in your own technique, you need to take it down, fix it, get it consistently, and then we'll bring intensity up after that. Then everybody's happier. Partner's happier, you're happier. If you're not going to make a change, if you're just flying through every time. In fact, that's where things fall apart. And if you look at our technique, the reason we're so technical is because when you increase intensity, you're going to lose about 30% of your technique, right? So if your technique's only a 50, you drop 30, you got 20% of nothing. So what you need to do is hammer it out until it's solid. Then when you increase intensity, you still have a solid form, solid technique, and it still looks good, and it works. And that's going to be with posture and focusing on those key points of getting your partner off balance. Now, if you're not comfortable with the forward roll, maybe you're new or you have an injury, that's fine. I'm going to get her here, and she can do whatever. She can tuck a leg and have a back fall. I'm not really that concerned as long as you fall safely. Okay? Let's make groups. Main thing I'm trying to do is make a change to this posture, right? So there's always that weird moment where you have the male hug like this, where we just kind of like forward. There's really not a lot of Aikido happening there. Something else is going on. But what I want to see is, even if you go fast, it just never really works out. You guys are just crashing chest to chest. I want to go shoulder to shoulder. So if you pivot and think shoulder, shoulder, right? So if you think both shoulders are going to try to affect this one shoulder, then it's just a slight pivot, drops his shoulder, second shoulder comes in, now you can go. So it's a little bit of a hip twist. version. But what I'm trying to do is really get you to understand that you need to make more of a contact with your shoulder and manipulate his posture laterally before you continue to move forward. And on tensionality, more than most techniques, it's easy for us to just do this split, right? As fast as we can, and then nobody's really happy about it, and somebody's going to stop you, or maybe they just don't like you ramming into them, right? So there's lots of ways you can do it. We can just manipulate out, or we can do a little bit of a pivot and come through. We're just going to exaggerate the pivot just so we can really emphasize that shoulder drop. Again, shoulder drop, then, okay? So just slow it down a little bit, and then we'll try it for a little bit more. Okay? Now, here's the speed. All right, so just slow speed. We're going to do Sankyo. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to be reading a little bit out to the side. This hand comes to the elbow, this hand to the hand. Drive her back, get her to turn all the way around to my opposite foot, cut down and give up something. We're going to do a couple of techniques from this opening, so we're just going to keep it simple with Sankyo first. Let you guys get used to the mechanics, and then we'll go from there. From here, driving back. So once this goes out, I'm reaching, bring it back. Here, trying to bring the elbow right back to the left. So from here, I'm not just bringing it this way, but I'm going to scoop it up behind her. That's going to force her to move a little bit. So from here, nothing's going on other than moving her out of the way. Now, if you look, her hand winds up falling right into mine. So my thumb will be in her palm. From here, I don't allow her to stand upright, but I keep that slightly forward so I can switch, enter, and then come to the elbow. Out, did it. So let's go slow, and if you need more details, I'll break it down a little more, okay? Right? We could pick this up early, like try and get it here, but then he's standing right there, so we don't want to do that. We want to move him around us. So when he comes in here, don't be too anxious to pick that up. First, move him here. Does that make sense? So I want to get him all the way over there. Now, even better, as he's moving, we're going to start making that transition, so he doesn't have the time to set up at the end. So once he comes in, we're here, move out, and then we're going to come through. So I know that the transition's a little weird, right? Right? So we're not used to that transition, so we all kind of want to go for it early. Don't go for it early. Wait it out. Get your partner in motion. Have them clear you. So all I'm doing is I'm entering like a Riemann out here, right? I'm facing my partner. Pivot once they clear this foot, then you pick it up. Okay? Forces me to use my hips the right way. If you don't use them the right way, you don't get very much out of the bouquet. They don't move very much. And it's very transparent whether you're doing it right or not. However, it has to be incorporated with a lunge as well. So when he's coming in, I don't want to go for the rotation too soon because he's too much beside me. So I have to initiate with a lunge. So I'm going to lunge behind him first. So the first movement is just to move him back. So I'm going into the elbow, moving him back. Once he starts moving, when I'm about here, then you rotate your hip. And that extra rotation is more than we typically turn. So it's not always easy because we typically kind of stay here. You're kind of over-rotating a little bit. But that's going to help develop your hips and that rotation we need to produce power, right? So that over-rotation is a good developmental tool in our practice. So if you lunge, with good body mechanics, back, he's in motion, now rotate that hip. Look at where he is. All right, now let's look. Like ski Sankyo, your regular Sankyo, be in the same position, right? And that's all we're looking for. And honestly, it's great to teach, maybe a little different technique, but I really don't care so much about that. I really just want you guys to get this hip rotation and try and get this dynamic of using your hip differently. From here, come through, and then finish it down. So the key thing I'm looking for is good posture with a lunge and a hip rotation. That will transfer over to all your techniques. Does that make sense? This time, I'm come straight. All right. From here, I'm going to externally rotate Like you've got feet go faces, right? Kind of like a reverse cobra. So from here, drive straight down. Once I'm here, set my foot up under his scapula, press into the head of the humerus or at his shoulder, and I'm going to give a little bit of pressure. The key to this is that I'm rotating as I put a little bit of pressure. All right? You don't want to do this hard. You guys know what go feel feels like. It doesn't feel good, right? So this is, of course, moving around. You want to do it really, really slowly. We're not looking to hurt anybody. We're just looking to learn a technique. So from here down, your hand is in position. You change nothing. Rotate, pressure, and then put that wrist in flexion. Right? So with the wrist being a hinge joint, it has very little range of motion, right? Not as much as we would like. So once it's here, we don't want to continue to hammer down. You just want to give enough until your partner's tapping out. So again, drive. And then one time. Why do you need my guy? Here. Externally rotate as you load that up. Okay? Because the movement feels good to try and go for it. Don't do that. It's going to put you in a different position. Instead, your thumb is underneath, it crosses the hinge joint right there, right? So his thumb is directly under, he's got his fist, you're good to go. It's the same position you should have had for that Sankyo. Now just drive in, and then look at how that joint starts to collapse. We want to keep feeding that in and don't release that. As soon as you come down, we start to rotate through at the same time. What you don't want to do is get down here like this and then rotate. I want to kind of be in motion as you're going. That rotation has a big point in how what it's gonna feel like. And that's because the two long bones in your forearm, the radius and ulnar, are being crossed when we do this. If you're like this, they're straight. If we rotate, they cross. When they cross, it reduces range of motion and it causes discomfort. Right. And then a little discomfort. Okay? So that external rotation isn't exactly a natural feeling, but especially when you're in flexion. So flexion with rotation, think of Nikyo, right? Nikyo is pretty, uncomfortable when it's there, but that's also because your flexion with rotation incorporates the same kind of thing. It's almost like Nikyo upside down. So don't just press into the joint, make sure you're rotating. Okay? In, and I put this in flexion, which I'm going to use that to drive her away anyway, right? But I'm using that with this forward hand, so the two of them are working together. So just like before, so here, this is driving back. So as soon as it starts to initiate into the elbow, you pin that wrist into flexion at the exact same time. So as soon as she starts to move, it pins, right? Moves, then it pins. Now stay there, and then you rotate it out as you're moving, okay? But from here, you can even spiral with your body, which is going to be even more efficient and more effective. If you put your body into it, lunge a little bit, as you're doing it, it's going to load it up. But again, it's not going to take much for your partner to feel. You're probably seeing now. It's not the kind of technique you want to hang out, see how much pain you can take. Just not a good idea. Just tap out when you feel it, because it's going to keep coiling up more. Okay? Just hold on a minute. Really exposed, this posture is perfect, there's really no reason for you to just let me do anything. So really just as you move, just remember that you want to move out a little bit into that corner. You want to occupy that corner. So this is some kind of a change in his posture, and that's usually you can sense in the way his feet feel. If his feet feel very grounded, it guarantees he's grounded. So just by coming out of that slightly, you're going to get a response. So we're going to capitalize on that. Hopefully we were doing that already. Come out, and then not all going to fall with Jimmy. Alright, so that same motion, my thumb is underneath. What's going to happen is my elbow is going to follow through to his shoulder. Right? So if you watch, you can really do this here. Going to follow through to his shoulder. Right? Okay? So that way I'm holding, and I'm not doing that to strike, I'm doing it so to make sure my hips thoroughly open before I throw, as opposed to being kind of throw back, which is kind of common. So So as I come through, rotate your hips, follow through. Let that elbow make contact. Here, follow through. And laterally, I'm moving out. Move laterally now, it's really going to mess with Uke's posture a bit. And he's right there with me. Okay? So now how can we do this for everyone? Here, out to the side, cross, and tuck away. Again, lateral, out, cross. All right, let's make groups. I know there's that feeling of life, it's not that, it's thumb under. All right, so it's the same position. It's just thumping it. This move is thumb under. Everything's the same. The thumb under, don't change that hand position. And then when you move, you just follow through. That's done, let your shoulders open up. So here, follow. That lateral drop leading to the corner. So if your hand is like this,